Next up on High Desert Tactical, the K-Bar BK2, otherwise known as the Becker Campanion. Okay, I already know that there's tons of videos on YouTube about this knife, but I figured I'd share it with you guys and share some future plans that I have for it, and so I kind of wanted to do a before and after. And I might as well just kind of unbox it anyway. So here it is. This is the K-Bar BK2, Becker Knife and Tool K-Bar. It's probably made in USA, nothing super new. As it goes from a box standpoint, it's a nice box. It beats the whole plastic clam package crap, which I think is really ironic because you would need a knife in order to open the package that your knife is in. This is like kind of irony there. You get yourself your BK2 and then a wannabe Kydex sheath. I don't know if it's Kydex brand Kydex or not, but as a sheath, it's fairly decent. It does have the Becker Knife and Tool and K-Bar logo inlaid into it. It is adjustable, so you can change how this belt loop and the blade will ride on your person, certain angles and things like that. I don't plan on using this sheath because I want to get a leather sheath made for this knife in the future. Obviously, it comes with some paperwork, and that's really all you get in the box. So I wanted to talk about some of the specs on this knife. I'm just going to share like my input and why I picked this knife and, you know, what the specs played with that. So first of all, I picked this knife because I wanted a bushcrafting knife or a field knife, something that I could go camping with and do some heavy duty work, but also have like some fine working skills with it, like whittling and being able to dress game and things like that. So first off, the main thing about this knife that stood out to me is its size. This sucker is 10.5 inches long, so it's not tiny, but it's not overly huge as well. But for being a 10.5 inch overall length, it's got a 5.25 inch blade. So the blade itself is very large and being able to use for batoning and working with splitting, kindling and things like that, but also enough length, being short enough where you could work your hand as well when dressing game, whether you're skinning or cleaning a fish and things like that. It is obviously a full tang blade. The thing about it that I really like about this puppy is it is a 1/4 inch thick at the spine and it weighs a pound. So this sucker is super heavy and it will add like longevity and durability to heavy use like batoning wood and splitting kindling. It does have a impact area in the back to behave almost like a hammer. So when, you know, working with like driving a stake into the ground or maybe possibly having to put a nail in something, you could do that with this as well. The scales themselves are a Zytel scale, which is a polymer glass injected plastic, and they are removable. They have Allen head screws with nuts, so you can remove these, and that's going to help me with a future project that I'm going to talk about in a few seconds. It is a standard drop point blade, which is very similar or very familiar in the bushcrafting world. This is, you know, your typical blade style for bushcrafting, and that was one thing that kind of brought me to like this puppy. It does have a 20-degree grind on the blade or on, you know, the edge, which I have no idea what that really means, but I'm assuming it's 20 degrees. I don't know. Something that you might find interesting. The steel is the thing that really kind of made me get sold on this knife. It's a 1095 Crovan, basically a carbon steel. It's not a stainless steel, and it's also a steel that holds an edge very well, but if it was to lose its edge, it's easy to get back. Talking to my friend Gary Griffin, who does his Gary Griffin knives, he said that this steel is a very good steel, so if the edge was to be lost, you could actually gain it back by using a smooth river stone if you didn't have a sharpening stone or a steel of some sort to get your blade back, which is cool. So that will help you kind of when you're out in the field if you get desperate. So some of the things about this blade or knife that some people don't like, and some things that stood out to me that are kind of a negative, but doesn't matter because we're going to change that in the future, is the one thing that's not changeable, and a lot of people complained about, is that this is a newer generation of the BK2, which has been out for a long time, obviously. It's no longer stamped with the K-Bar logo or the BK2 model number. It's basically painted on with this textured paint, and that goes on to the subject that I don't like this textured paint. It adds drag to while working with your knife, which it's such a small amount no one really cares about, so it doesn't matter. But what I think does matter is if you were to be field dressing game or working with fish, this textured coating can help aid microbes and bacteria in sticking around on your blade and making it harder for this blade to stay clean for working with your food products. So now we get to the point where I want to talk about what I want to do to this knife. And it's no news that people have been able to strip this paint or coating off. I've done a bunch of research. I can't find an actual term for what this is, but it is a textured coating, and you can take it off with a standard paint thinner. People have been able to use Scotch-Brite wheels and grind the finish off. And then what I wanted to do after I'm going to do that is people have given these things heated acid baths, and what that does is it gives it a really cool patina look, almost like a stonewash look. And that's something that I want to do to this blade. It will also help get that smooth finish back, and then also aid in deterring microbes and bacteria, which I think this paint will help. The next thing that I wanted to do to this sucker is I want to add jimping or file work to the tang. I want to put the work here where the thumb is, so you can get a nice, more positive purchase of the blade, especially when working it and working on doing batoning or trying to work with some heavy-duty wood and things where a nice, solid grip is imperative. The other thing, too, is I wanted to add some jimping right here towards the tip, because if you were to be working with some game, whether you're skinning or fleshing something out or cleaning a fish, you know, this allows you to create a fine working tool, but not risk slipping or losing grip of the knife as well. Now, there could be a catch-22 in that fact, is if I get rid of this coating, it'll be a smooth surface again. So you got to make sure that when you're holding the knife, I'm assuming you'll need to make sure you got a good purchase. And that's where this bevel right here comes into play. You can wedge your hands up on that edge, and you're still going to have a really good grip, even if this textured paint is missing and you have a smooth surface. So this is kind of what I wanted to do with this knife, and that's my future plans. I'm hoping to do a second video on the final product, or even on the process of modifying this knife. And I just wanted to share my future bushcrafting tool with you guys. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions or any experiences with the BK2 or the Becker Campanion, let me know. I'd like to hear that down in the comments below. Other than that, you guys take care, be safe, and I will catch you later.